Welcome to part 3 of story time. So where we left off is Haman had taken Mordecai around for everybody to praise him. Then the following night they had their final dinner at Esther's house. At the king's house, Esther's final dinner where she's now going to make the request to the king. And the king once again is thanking and praising Mordecai for this wonderful thing that he did to save his life. And then Mordecai, I can't remember if it was Mordecai or Esther, but one of them lets the king know and is like, yo, my guy, you know that he's trying to get us killed, right? Like, he wants Mordecai killed. He's trying to kill the Jews. And hey, I'm Esther, I'm a Jew too. And then the king goes out and he's like, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to kill my wife as well as this man who saved my life. And the king steps outside, right? And while he's stepping outside, Haman realizes he's in deep problems, okay? Deep problems. Because now he's created this whole plot and now he's in trouble. So now he gets out to try and go speak to Esther, but like, oh, I'm so sorry. And the blubbering idiot trips and falls on top of Esther. And guess what? The king walks in that moment. Look, my hair's out, Chef Willing. In that moment, the king walks in and the king is like, not only are you trying to have my people killed, but now you're trying to get with my wife. Off with your head. And then Mordecai's like, well, you know what? He's got a great big steak that's waiting for me. And the king is like, Haman to the steak. And then everything that Haman planned for himself, for good, Mordecai got. And all the bad he planned for Mordecai, he got. But then the problem, we still had a small problem. They had decided at some point in time that if a king made a decree, he couldn't change it. So now the problem is his decree about them having to off the Jews did not go away just because he'd had a change of heart and realized his beloved wife and this guy who'd saved his life were both now part of the people that he'd said to have killed. So now he's thinking, and everybody's like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And then Esther is like, how about we say the Jewish people can fight back. And then so now, like, if they do decide to try and kill them, they can fight back. And like we all know with God's chosen people, he always looks out for them. Like when you're a child of God and you're chosen by God, God will look out for you. So then what happened was, then when the day came where they could fight, where it was time for the fight, the Jewish people could fight back. So some people either didn't fight them at all, or if people did try and kill them, then they were able to fight back, and the Jewish people were victorious. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the wonderful story of Esther. Just a few fun facts. Do you know that in the book of Esther, you never hear them mention God? But the thing is, throughout there's so many places that you see God, that even when they don't mention God or you don't hear God said, what you hear a lot in the Bible, God said, God did this, direct quotes from God, there are absolutely none in Esther. But one of my favorite things about the book is not just the drama, don't get me wrong, I love me the drama. But one of my favorite things about this book is even though God isn't mentioned explicitly, he is there in the details. Because I mean, Haman falling on Esther right as the king walked in to make it look like he's trying to accost the queen. Mordecai not getting what he deserved in that moment where he saved the king and it being only at the end of the story. Because you know that God's timing. Because can you imagine how Mordecai felt when he did not get acknowledged in that moment? Not knowing that when he would get acknowledged, it would serve a greater good, a greater purpose. It would help set the king's heart to be ready to bless even more people and help even more people. He didn't get what he deserved in that moment, but he got it later on in God's divine timing. And that for me was just one of those things where you see all this divine timing. I mean, they're fasting and praying. Who are they fasting and praying to? Esther's out here doing all these things. Who gave her that favor? Who did all this for her? It was God. And so they might not have mentioned God like explicitly in your face, but it was there. It was implicit. It was in the details. And I just love that about God. That even when, he's always working, even when we don't necessarily hear a word specific, but he's always there, always talking to us. And the character of God is so beautiful. And I hope you learned something from the story. Thank you.